We come to the purpose of our gathering here today, and I would like to call on somebody to read the citation of His Excellency. Somebody who is transparently honest and dangerously blunt. That is the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Nyesom Wike FCT. I'm a student of English Language and Communication, but none of my lecturers have taught me the type of adjectives I can use to qualify somebody who successfully administer a country for its conservative years. Because if you go to River State now, it's a country on its own. Your Excellency, may I request that you stand for the citation to be read by Dr. Damilola Adejuma.
Please be seated. Sorry, I don't want any reader citation. What is there to be there? You have said everything about me. And so everybody's aware. And we are trying to, because of time. So whatever you have prepared, give it to them. They will read it. Kábíyèsí, the only official, our own father, our own leader, and my friend. I was telling him that, but for time I wanted to stay here today and be hosted by the only official. Unfortunately, something came up yesterday, and I said, I would have canceled this program, but I said, anyhow, I want to be here today. The chairman of this great University Government Council, the Vice Chancellor, I kept the last greeting from my friend, the Governor of Osun State, who is represented by his able Deputy Governor. Members of this great university community, members of my entourage, let me give respect to the Dean of Law of this great university. Let me tell the Vice Chancellor, all the support you need, I will give you the support. And let me also say that while you were speaking, my wife sent me a text and said you support the Faculty of Law. So, on behalf of my wife, we will support the Faculty of Law. I will tell the Dean privately what I will do for them. It is with deep humility and a profound sense of honor that I stand before this distinguished gathering in the revered Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, to deliver the 2025 Distinguished Personality Lecture. This university is undeniably a citadel of knowledge, a bastion of progressive thought, an enduring symbol of Nigeria's intellectual and moral conscience, whose reputation for intellectual excellence and progressive activism has shaped the trajectory of Nigeria's academic, political, and social evolution. To be invited to deliver the 2025 Distinguished Personality Lecture in this great institution is not merely a personal honor. It is a profound affirmation of the values I have long embraced and championed, that is, visionary governance, the sanctity of the rule of law, principled public service, and infrastructural transformation anchored in justice and equity. I thank the Governing Council and the University Management for this remarkable gesture, which I do not take for granted. The wording of the invitation letter sent to me is not only a tribute, but also a testament that amidst the cacophony of misrepresentation and political distortion, there still exist hallowed grounds such as this one, where truth, objectivity, and national purpose still thrive. That your University Council and Management unanimously selected me for this role, a recognition of my commitment to good governance, the rule of law, infrastructure development, and transformative leadership is both reassuring and profoundly appreciated. In an era where leadership is often misunderstood or misjudged through partisan prism, I consider your invitation a balm and your recognition a vindication and a challenge. Obasanjo Awolowo University is more than an academic institution. It is a living idea, a place where minds are awakened, convictions are forged, and the future of Nigeria is endlessly interrogated. To speak here on Nigeria of our dreams is to engage in a conversation that transcends politics. It is to dare to imagine, and more importantly, to build a nation anchored on discipline, equity, opportunity, and shared prosperity. Thank you once again for your confidence, your courage, and your faith, not just in me, but in the possibility of a better Nigeria. The idea and reality of Nigeria. Every great nation begins not as a fact, but as an idea, an aspiration born in the hearts and minds of those who dare to dream of something larger than themselves. Nigeria as we know it today was conceived in the crucible of a paradox, consummated by the colonial imperative of amalgamation, yet nurtured by the enduring hope of unity in diversity. From the very beginning, there has always existed a powerful dream that this vast land of many tongues and traditions will someday become a beacon of harmony, justice, and prosperity. Nigeria did not emerge fully formed in 1960. Rather, it was a culmination of centuries of historical currents, shaped by internal complexities and external interventions. The birth of the nation was both an end and a beginning, a long and winding journey towards self-realization. When the Union Jack was lowered and the green, white, green flag was hoisted on October 1st, 1960, the air was electric with expectation. Across cities and villages, across boardrooms and marketplaces, there was a profound sense that something extraordinary was unfolding, that the political kingdom has finally arrived, bearing with it the promise of renewal, dignity, and glory. Our founding fathers and the nationalists of that era did not merely seek power. They embodied a profound sense of mission Men of vision, character, and competence, respected across Africa and beyond, stood at the helm, ready to chart a new course for their people. Their confidence in Nigeria's potential was not misplaced. With vast natural resources, a vibrant and diverse populace, and indomitable entrepreneurial spirit, Nigeria stood poised to assume its place as the economic powerhouse of Africa, the giant of Africa, not just in name, but in action and impact. There was an almost sacred belief that this new nation will carry the torch of freedom, not just for itself, but for all of Africa and the oppressed peoples of the world. The Nigeria of our dreams was not a mirage. It was and remains a living aspiration, built on pillars of justice, equity, and shared prosperity. It is a vision of a country where ethnicity does not trump talent, where competence, not connections, is the true currency of leadership, and where public office is not a personal privilege, but a sovereign trust. What went wrong? The Nigeria we see today is not the Nigeria we dreamt of. Somewhere between the ecstasy of independence and the stark realities of today, the dream falls flat. We stumbled on the jagged rocks of corruption, danced too long with the ghost of mediocrity, and surrendered too frequently to the paralyzing cynicism of despair. Our institutions, once envisioned as pillars of progress, have buckled under the weight of impunity and ethnicity. The rule of law is often treated as an inconvenience. The social contract has failed, and the moral compass of leadership has spun widely of course. The once vibrant hope of a united, thriving nation has dimmed in the eyes of many, especially our youth, whose immense potential now languishes in frustration or bleeds out through the desperate exit of the so-called Japan syndrome. From the global spotlight in 1960, where Nigeria stood tall as a rising star, she has tragically become a cultural tale, a dwarf in many respects. We are hailed as Africa's beacon, rich in resources, vibrant in culture, and dynamic in population. But over 6 decades on, Nigeria has particularly underperformed and underachieved so persistently and so profoundly that her name now evokes disbelief, pity, or ridicule in international cycles. Consider India, our pair at independence, once a third world nation grappling with poverty and colonial hangovers. Today, India builds aircraft, has developed a locally produced cervical cancer vaccine, and commands respect among the world's naval powers with its homegrown aircraft carriers. India is now the world's fourth largest producer of passenger vehicles. In 2018 to 2019 alone, it rolled out over 4 million cars. And Nigeria would not even manufacture bicycles. This painful contrast underscores the consequences of missed opportunities, broken leadership, unenterprising citizenry, and arrested development. Every fault line imaginable is virtually cracking open. Insecurity festers across the land. Infrastructure lies in the ruins. Our public school system is gasping for breath, and our economy is hit under the weight of bad policies, runaway inflation, and the currency in free fall from a time when $1 exchanged for ₦1. To today, one over 1,600 naira chases a single dollar. The Nigerian passport has become a red flag at foreign airports. It is a symbol of suspicion rather than pride. Our global image tarnished by the case of corruption, fraud, and state failure. Our value system, once anchored on integrity and hard work, has been upended. The new gospel is money acquired at all costs, flaunted without shame. The youth, the sedition, and restless are caught in a whirlwind of debt-rich quick scheme, internet fraud, ritualism, and other backed pursuits. Religious institutions, which ought to be moral beacons, have joined the parade. Wealth is worshipped from the pulpit. Celebrity pastors rather pop sounds in flamboyance. Mosques and churches reserve front rows for convicted looters and notorious criminals. Even our sacred spaces have not been spared the rot. If you go to a mosque now, you go to the church, the front row is for those with an as rich. We have watched this decay metastasize while many in high places looked the other way or worse, profited from the rot. The litany of woes is long. And for many Nigerians, the dream has faded into a nightmare. A sons of his nation have certain a crippling hopelessness and a numbing despair. And yet, in the face of this bleak landscape, we must ask, is all hope lost? Is this the end of Nigeria's story? Can we no longer dream of a nation that works, that cares, that inspires? Reclaiming Nigeria's dream. Permit me to share my strong conviction with you. Yes, Nigeria can still rise and soar to the pinnacle of the hopes and glory that attended her upon her birth. We have the men, materials, and resources to transport us to the zenith of the rediscovery, blissful attainment, and actualization of our potential, that apogee of redevelopment and prosperity for all our people. Indeed, it is safe to say that many of the views people hold about Nigeria are shaped by deep misconceptions, judging the country as one might judge a lengthy book by its cover. But there is far more to Nigeria than what often meets the eye. Every country has had its share of trials, and though we grapple with flaws, setbacks, and a heavy national debt burden, Nigeria in its real sense is a beautiful nation, blessed with astonishing natural landscapes, a dazzling array of cultures, and some of the most passionate, creative, and determined citizens on earth. It is deeply saddening that Nigeria's glory is often dimmed not by a lack of potential, but by the failures of those entrusted with power, and by followership that has too often become passive. Still, being a Nigerian means a great deal. I count myself fortunate to be a citizen of this giant of Africa. Our country, for all her troubles, remains an indispensable voice on the continent, an economic powerhouse, and a cultural juggernaut. Though the present may seem bleak, the future remains open to transformation. It is not too late to turn this land of promise into a land of fulfillment. To reclaim Nigeria's dream, we must first reclaim our belief in the possibility of that dream. We must reject the defeatist narrative that nothing can change. Change does not come from the top alone. It bubbles up for the conviction of a determined people. The Nigeria of our dream is not a utopia. It is a Nigeria that works. It is a Nigeria where merit trumps mediocrity, where justice flows like a river, and where every child, regardless of ethnic group, religion, tongue, or class, has the opportunity to live with dignity and die with honor. It's a nation that listens to the heartbeat of its people and allows the soul of democracy to find expression not only in periodic elections, but in the daily dignity of citizenship. It's a place where leaders are not predators on the public purse, but custodians of the people's trust, where leadership is purposeful and followership is responsible. It's a nation where institutions are stronger than individuals, where the rule of law is not a slogan, but a sacred covenant. Reclaiming Nigerian's dream demands a rekindling of vision and values. We must reimagine the country not as a victim, not as victims of its history, but as architects of its destiny. We must rebuild trust between government and the governed, among ethnic nationalities, across faiths and generations. We must rediscover the dignity of labor, the sanctity of truth, and the strength of unity. Most of all, we must believe again that our country, however flawed, is not beyond redemption. This work belongs to all of us. No one is too small to matter or too big to fail. Nigerian redemption will not be delivered by heroes or horseback, but by ordinary citizens doing extraordinary things. Living with integrity, speaking truth to power, raising children with values, and holding firm to hope even when the night is long. The dream is not dead. It merely sleeps, waiting for those bold enough, brave enough, and bold enough to awaken it. The elements of our dream. If reclaiming Nigeria's dream is aspiration, then identifying the elements of that dream is the compass that points the way. The dream we speak of is not abstract or ethereal. It is rooted in tangible ideas, ideals, and measurable goals. It finds expression in the structures, systems, and standards that define a functional and flourishing nation. These elements are the pillars upon which the Nigeria of aspiration must be built. Under this, I've listed elements, but these elements are not exhaustive, but they offer a framework for the Nigeria we must build. One dream, many pillars, each is necessary. None can be ignored. Together, they point to a destination that is both possible and worthy of our collective pursuit. One of such is the leadership of our dream. Many scholars agree that the greatest challenge in confronting Nigeria and chronically militating against our development is the plight of bad and mediocre leadership. Today, in his seminal work, I quote, "The trouble with Nigeria," graphically captured this challenge when he stated that the trouble with Nigeria is fairly and squarely the absence of proper leadership. This statement, damaging as it may appear, is extremely difficult to controvert. Our leaders have, in the main, emerged through self-serving conspiracies that have little or nothing to do with national interest and development. This has been the case in both military and civilian contexts. In the light of the foregoing, our country has ended up with leaders who were not prepared for leadership. Indeed, some of these leaders were ab initio, even reluctant to take on the mantle of leadership. Accordingly, Nigeria has substantially been infested with leaders without preparation, knowledge, courage, patriotism, and character. Little wonder our country has spent too much time groping in the dark and struggling with common nuggets of development, such as basic infrastructure, primary health care, efficient democratic and judicial system, and a functional economy. A leader of our dream must be one who is prepared to lead, one who has shown character and resilience in the face of challenges. He must be that person who believes in the infinite possibilities that the Nigerian nation exemplifies while taking solid, proactive, logical, and well-informed that will maximally actualize her potential. This leader must have the courage and audacity to act, build, innovate, and generally expand the frontiers of development with a hands-on approach that will emphasize excellence over mediocrity. Perhaps more importantly, the leader of our dreams must create a society of free and responsible citizens whose potentials flow freely and free enterprise thrives. Yasajara, in his book, The Sage CEO, holds that the development of Dubai is fundamentally traceable to the great leadership of Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the present leader of Dubai, and his forebearers. Through vision, resilience, and discipline, they have transformed Dubai, an otherwise desert patch, into one of the most enchanting hubs for trade, commerce, and leisure. It is instructive to quote Yasser Jarrah, to which, in 1985, oil revenue made up 50% of Dubai's GDP. In 2009, it was just 5%, and it has continued to decrease, with a Bloomberg report in 2018 putting oil production at least than 1% of GDP. While tourism, to mention just one example, contributes close to 20% of GDP. The foregoing abundantly demonstrate that whereas Dubai, like Nigeria, is an oil-producing country, its leaders, conscious of the fact that oil is a final resource, decided to use the benefit of oil to proactively diversify the developmental trajectory of the economy in such a way that as it currently stands, with or without oil, Dubai economy is unshakable. This is how to plan. This is how to lead. This is the kind of leadership of the Nigeria of our dreams. Let me make bold. Let me make bold at this juncture to state that today in our country we have such a leader in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. Our current president embodies a lot of the qualities that I have stated above. He has shown in several ways and at different times a strong commitment to the enthronement of democracy in our country, to the extent of even putting his own life on the line in the process. He has shown great capacity for engendering development as captured in the unprecedented rapid and exponential development of Lagos State under his watch and even beyond. On his first day upon this one in Ascended, he demonstrated rare courage by removing the hydra-headed fuel subsidy that was impoverishing generations of Nigerians and binding them into avoidable and perennial debt. Now, so many of our presidents before have said fuel subsidy is a scam, is a fraud. Yes, we know. What have you done? To show leadership, to show that you have courage. A leader is that having identified that this is wrong, and you say, okay, having known that this is wrong, I must take decision. A man that was sworn in that same day, he said, fuel subsidies, bye-bye. How many people can have that kind of courage? Even though we know there will be problems. You say, what? I said that. I have to take decision. It doesn't matter. I must show that courage. This scam, this fraud, other leaders have identified, and nobody has taken decision. I will take that decision. I have taken the decision. That's what they call leadership. Leadership is not, yes, that's a problem. Take decision to solving such a problem. If I take this one, I don't know what people will say. If you don't take decision, people will say something. You take decision, people will say something. So take decision. that is what our president has shown today. It doesn't matter what anybody will say. If he did not take that decision, so many people would have been benefiting from that. Today, that decision alone he took has led to the point where so much money now goes to the state. I'm not talking about APC. I'm talking about leadership. Right? I'm talking about what? Leadership, not party. As told you, Bola Tinubu, whether it's any party, whether it's not in a party, he has said that he can take decisions. He has shown leadership. It is not the party that makes you to be a good leader. It is the individual. After all, we have had presidents of different parties. All the parties. Nobody was able to take that decision. But as what you have shown, if you like, it's an independent candidate. If you like, it's from any party, he will take decisions. That's what leadership is all about. Leaders before him all spoke about the evil of fuel subsidy, but none had the courage to dare the blackmail of removing it. Tinubu did, and certainly grappling with its inevitable, unintended, and sometimes orchestrated consequences of this movement. Today, our states have far more resources to develop. The debts are no longer piling, and the price of petrol is gradually but steadily adjusting downwards in tandem with the forces of demand and supply, and the state implementation of regulatory conditionalities. The overwhelming cry of over-centralization of power and resources at national level and the attempted abuse of the doctrine of federalism is being systematically addressed through the creation of zonal and regional commissions empowered to develop developmental impetus to the respective zones and regions so that power can truly return to the people. The security situation is being addressed through proper funding and the training of our army and other security forces. There's no doubt that with the recent presidential approval for the recruitment of forest guards across the country to take charge of our forests, bandits and terrorists will no longer find incubation points and free terrorists to operate. You agree with me? Everybody has complained about this forest. How do we do? What do we do? No president had ever come out to say, okay, I must from forest guards. Those who go to the forest and say, get out from here. Get out. Enough is enough. It's not easy. It takes a leader who has the courage, who believes that the right thing must be done at the right time. Every of our presidents of the year, nobody was bold to take care of our forest. But this president said, I have the courage. I will do it. And he has done it. What I tell people, you don't need to like anybody. No. Leadership is not about you liking me. Leadership is about you being courageous to take decisions that will help us to move forward. Just like the Chancellor said, I'm not the first minister of FCT, right? No poor man lives in Matama. No poor man lives in Wusetu. No poor man lives in Asokoro. All are rich men. No poor man does business in central business area. They say they're untouchable. I said no. I said no. I said, I will touch you. If the right thing is not done, I will touch you. That is leadership. They didn't appoint me as a minister for beauty contest. No. No. I'm there to do the right thing. So when you see them complain, I ask questions. Mention one poor man that has a house in my town. Oh, rich men, you don't want to pay your tax. You will pay. You will pay. If you don't pay, I will touch you. And heaven will not fall. Rather, heaven will be at peace. Finally, let the point be made that no leader, no matter how endowed, equipped, and selfless, can truly succeed without the support and cooperation of the citizenry. Nigerians must wake up from years of cynicism, indifference, and hopelessness to embrace this new era of renewed hope led by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No nation has made any reasonable progress without the robust cooperation and collaboration of its leadership and followership. South Africa, for instance, under Mandela, achieved independence and made progress as shown in his book, Long Walk to Freedom, through this cooperation. Dubai is recording all these great feats through synergy between its leadership and followership. For as Jara put it, Dubai had a leader who acted quickly and swiftly, not shaken by the challenges, and had his people backing him and believing in his vision. If we don't support the president now, all his efforts will be in vain. A leader takes a decision and gets the support of his people. So, therefore, a leader takes a decision. You say, oh, you look at this from the point of party and a member of PDP. Therefore, when the president wants to help the country move forward, anything he does, I will support because I'm a member of PDP. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. In terms of crisis, you must rally around your leader to be able to succeed. If there is insecurity somewhere, people are being killed. You don't come out to criticize the leader. You must rally around and give him support. That is how countries succeed. Look at it in America. If anything happens, whether you like Trump, you don't like Trump, all Americans will say, this attack is against America. We all Americans must stand up and rally around our country. But yeah, if anything happens in Brunei, in Yobe, in Oyo, or anywhere, instead of us to rally around and say this is our country, let's keep behind our leader. We say, oh, PDP does not share with this. APC shares with this. Labour Party, we don't know what is going on. That is not how a country can move forward. Parties are just vehicles to convey you to where you are going. We must rally around our leader. Everything you don't like, simply, he's not a member of your party. He's not a member of your church. He does not attend. He's not a Pentecostal person. He's not an Anglican. He's not a Catholic. He does not attend this mosque. He attends the other mosque. That is not a way we can move forward. This is the right time to rally around the leader. And you will see successes will be made. Don't look at it from party point of view.
as he was speaking. He said, we don't belong to the same party. We must not belong to the same party. This is time to fast. It's not every time criticism. They've given you opportunity. So, that you are really working for Nigeria. And that's why I tell anybody, whether you like it or not, I will give all my support to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because he has shown that he has that leadership, he has that courage. Under him, there's nothing like cabal. Under Tinubu, there's nothing like what? Cabal. If not a leader, you discuss something with you before you leave. Or maybe you leave, something else has happened. They begin to ask, who is in charge of the country? This is the president that's in charge. He said his decision. He will always tell you, I've taken my decision. I pray to God to help me that will succeed. But for the decision, I have taken it. I will not be a president that you ask when the president says, I have said something. And it's for all of us to kill and make sure that the system works. That's the essence of the whole thing. Now, the time for belief is here. The time for action is also here. Together with President Tinubu, we can, as a people, begin the real process of building Nigeria of our dreams. Infrastructure development, building the foundation of progress. Infrastructure is not merely about roads and bridges. It's about connecting destinies, unlocking potential, and laying the physical and digital groundwork for national transformation. The Nigeria of our dreams cannot materialize without robust infrastructure. It's a place where a child in a rural Zamfara should access the same quality of education, healthcare, and opportunity as one in urban Lagos. It's a nation where seamless transportation, uninterrupted power supply, and digital innovation are not luxuries but essentials, woven into the fabric of everyday life. Infrastructure is architecture of equality. It delivers dignity, inclusion, productivity, and hope. Even the strongest critics of the Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will agree that things are getting better as far as infrastructure is concerned. In this journey towards realizing the Nigeria of our dreams, it is both necessary and noble to acknowledge the efforts of President Tinubu. His renewed hope agenda is not just a mantra. It's a bold recalibration of national priorities aimed at repositioning Nigeria on the path of sustainable development. Through massive investment in infrastructure, President Tinubu has demonstrated a commitment to tackling the inherited complexities of our federation with candor and courage. Without infrastructure, development is crippled. With it, progress is not only possible, it is inevitable. The road to Nigeria we envision is paved, quite literally, with concrete investment in infrastructure and with leadership bold enough to see it through. The rapid transformation of Abuja today is a clear testimony to the President's dedication to infrastructure revolution in Nigeria. It goes without saying that although I drive the process in Abuja, it was not that impossible without the overwhelming and ceaseless support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Just within 2 years, Abuja has accelerated its evolution into a defeating modern city and capital of a great nation like Nigeria. I was telling the audience that I have to leave. It was a watch advert going on. It's unprecedented. 17 days of
commissioning of projects under the capital. 17 days. It had never happened. For 17 what? Days. Every day, every day, every day. We have to plead with the president, share it. Give some to the vice president. Give some to the senate president. Give some to the speaker. Let everybody see what he has done in Abuja. So, he has provided the right leadership and see what is going on. In fact, the ability to identify people who can deliver shows you have a capacity. There are people who don't even know those who will work. I heard somebody say the other day that he told the president, I won't support you. He has no capacity. A president who identified me, he said he had no capacity. Something must be wrong with you. A president who identifies who can turn around the FCT, he said he has no capacity. It is you who have no capacity to know that this one has a capacity. I don't know the person's name. I don't care. I don't care. I heard the person said he doesn't talk to children. May you not talk to children. See how you will survive. But who are children? Somebody who beat you 2015, 2019, 2023. He says a child. Let that child continue to beat you. Third, democracy and good governance. At the heart of the Nigerian dream lies the vision of a thriving democratic culture, one that transcends periodic elections and manifests in everyday accountability, transparency, and active citizen participation. It is a dream rooted in the belief that leadership must be anchored on competence, integrity, and a genuine spirit of service. In this vision, public office is not a privilege to be exploited, but a sacred trust to be honored, a platform for transformation, not self-enrichment. Good governance is the engine that drives this dream, ensuring that institutions function efficiently and equitably, and that the government remains responsive to the needs and aspirations of the people. As we reflect on this double ideal, let us be reminded that democracy, though the best form of government, is perhaps the most challenging to establish on firm footing and even more difficult to sustain. Democracy is not a potted plant that can simply be transported into any soil and expected to flourish without commitment, sacrifice, and vigilance. As Lord Diamond aptly stated, it is one thing to get democracy. It's another thing, often more difficult, to keep it, to consolidate it, to bring real life and meaning to it, to make it endure. The Nigerian dream, therefore, calls us not just to wish for democracy, but to work for it, to build it daily through responsible leadership, engaged citizenship, and unyielding commitment to justice and equity. The rule of law and justice. A nation cannot flourish where laws are selectively applied and justice is for sale. The Nigeria we dream is one where the rule of law is not merely enshrined in the Constitution, but enforced with courage and impartiality, without fear or favor. The law is the social contract that binds us together, the protector of the weak against the powerful, and assuring that every citizen, rich or poor, powerful or powerless, can find refuge in its service. Without it, a nation descends into chaos. Justice must never be commodified. We must therefore build institutions where no one is above the law, where laws are not mere suggestions, but binding instruments of order and fairness. Central to this vision is an independent and courageous judiciary, immune from manipulation and committed to safeguarding human rights and upholding justice for all. Quality education. At the core of Nigerian dream lies the unwavering belief that qualitative and functional education is the bedrock of national development. It is the single most potent tool for transforming societies and empowering individuals to rise above the limitations of their circumstances. The dream envisions a system that nurtures young minds with the skills, values, and confidence required to shape the future, equipping them not just for survival, but for leadership in the dynamic 21st century world. From nursery school to the university level, the education in Nigeria of our dream must be accessible, inclusive, and relevant, reaching every child regardless of geography, gender, financial status, or ability. In this vision, no child is left behind for lack of opportunity or support. Certainly, Nigeria, like one African nation, is beset by complex challenges, including sectionalism, militancy, insurgency, terrorism, and countless others that affect nearly every facet of national life. Yet, of all the solutions to fight, none is as far-reaching and transformative as education. A sound and dynamic educational system is a fountain from which the revitalization of every sector can flow, infusing governance, security, industry, and innovation with clarity, discipline, and purpose. Indeed, no nation can develop beyond the quality of its education, and the strength of a people is deeply rooted in the strength of their learning system. It is in recognition of this that I deeply commend the visitor of this university, His Excellency Bola Tinubu, for his visionary leadership and unwavering commitment to advancing higher education in Nigeria. Through his New Hope agenda, bold and transformative interventions are reshaping the leadership of tertiary education, breathing new lives into institutions and restoring hope to millions. In this regard, for instance, the establishment of Nigeria Education Loan Fund is a landmark initiative that has provided much needed financial relief to students, ensuring that no willing mind is denied access to quality education simply because of economic hardship. This is a monumental step towards realizing the Nigeria of our dreams, a nation built on knowledge, equity, and opportunity. Economic prosperity and inclusive growth. We dream of a Nigeria where prosperity is not the preserve of a privileged few, but a shared reality that cuts across regions, social classes, and sectors. The Nigeria of our dream is not only rich in potential, but also rich in productivity. A country where industries thrive, jobs are created, and the small and medium enterprises flourish under the enabling support of modern infrastructure, reliable power supply, accessible technology, and sound policies that fuel innovation and entrepreneurship. This is a Nigeria of our dream. Security and national cohesion. Security is the bedrock upon which every meaningful national aspiration must rest, for no dream can flourish in an atmosphere of fear or instability. At the heart of Nigeria, we envision is a society where every citizen feels safe in their homes, in their communities, and across the federation. Security in this sense transcends the mere absence of war or criminality. It encompasses the active presence of peace, justice, harmony, and a shared sense of national belonging. Ultimately, security is not just about protecting borders, it's about protecting hope. It's about building a society where every Nigerian can aspire, strive, and succeed without fear. A nation where peace is the norm, not the exception, where trust replaces suspicion, and unity silences the drumbeat of division. Indeed, the primary essence of the state is to promote and sustain the political, social, and economic conditions that guarantee the welfare and well-being of its people. The fundamental obligation cannot be fulfilled unless the state succeeds in the effective maintenance of law and order. National security, therefore, is not a peripheral concern. It is central to the realization of the Nigeria of our dream. Unity in diversity. Fundamental to the Nigerian dream lies a profound recognition. Our diversity is not a burden, but a blessing, a source of strength rather than division. Nigeria is a vibrant tapestry of ethnicities, languages, cultures, and faiths. And when this richness is harmonized, it becomes our most powerful asset. The Nigeria we dream of does not erase differences, but celebrates them. It does not impose uniformity, but inspires unity. It's a nation where identity is not a cost for company, but a reason for pride, where every Nigerian, regardless of origin or creed, can confidently and boldly declare, I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Yet, unity in diversity cannot thrive in the absence of trust. At the heart of many of Nigerian challenges is a deficit of trust between leaders and followers, ethnic groups, religious communities, and even neighbors. Rebuilding this trust requires more than lofty rhetoric. It demands honesty, transparency, fairness, and justice. Our national policies must be inclusive, participatory, and responsive to both current needs and historical grievances. Dialogue, not propaganda, must become our common language and healing, not hostility, must shape our national journey. Only then can the beauty of our diversity be fully realized and transformed into a force for enduring unity and progress. The cause of history. There comes a moment in the life of every generation when it's summoned by history to make a choice. It is not a kind of choice that waits patiently or repeats itself without consequence. It's a defining moment, a crossroad between complacency and courage, between despair and hope. That moment is now, and the nation that calls us is Nigeria. Bruised, perhaps battered, but never broken. Her voice is rising above the din of disillusionment. Somebody, her sons and daughters, at home and abroad, not to mourn her fate, but to mold her future. The call of history is not merely to remember the glories of yesterday or critique the failures of today. It's a call to rise, to act, to believe. It calls us to abandon the paralysis of cynicism and embrace the transforming power of hope. It insists that change is not the miracle of the privileged few, but the mission of the willing many. No nation, ever stumbled into greatness. It's always cast by the resolute hands of those who dare to dream and refuse to give up. We must believe again, not in a shallow patriotism that pets our cracks, but in a resilient faith that confronts our flaws and fights to heal them. We must dare to hope again, not because the times are kind, but because hope itself is a revolutionary act in times like this. And above all, we must act not because it is convenient, but because it is essential. History does not remember those who watched, It remembers those who built. This call is not abstract. It is personal. It demands something of each of us. Whether you're a teacher, shaping young minds, a trader, fueling the economy, a doctor, saving lives, an artist, steering conscience, or a public servant, shaping policy, your role matters. The future is not waiting for heroes. It's waiting for people like you and me. Men and women willing to do extraordinary things. We are the hope we seek. We are the builders we long for. If Nigeria must rise, we rise. It will rise because we stood up and refused to let our faith fall. So let us answer the call, not in the comfort of someday, but in the urgency of now. Let us write a history, not of how Nigeria collapsed under the weight of its contradictions, but of how it rose on the strength of its convictions. Let us live to the next generation, not our regrets, but our resolve. Let me conclude by once again expressing my deepest gratitude to the Government Council and management of the Great Citadel of Learning. By granting me the honor of this platform, you have not merely recognized a name or a title. You have affirmed a journey, a purpose, a commitment to nation building. In choosing to see value in the work I do, you have not just stood apart, you have stood tall. You have not misunderstood my service. You have amplified its meaning for this singular act of affirmation. I remain profoundly grateful. But this moment is not about me. It's about us, all of us. It is a summons to rise, to rebuild, to believe once more in the infinite possibility of a united Nigeria. Nigeria of our dreams will not fall into our laps by wishing. It will be won by working. It will demand of us not only passion, but patience. Not only inspiration, but perspiration. Not only courage in moments of glory, but character in seasons of testing. Let us therefore rise, not as spectators, clapping for the sideline, but as architects laying brick upon brick. Let us rise above cynicism and mediocrity and embrace vision, sacrifice, and purpose. Let us dare to believe that greatness is not beyond us, but within us, waiting to awaken. Let us see record that we gathered here not to mourn what Nigeria has become, but to proclaim that Nigeria must be. So let us arise with clear eyes and committed hearts to build, to serve, and to dream again. Long live Obafemi Awolowo University. Long live the Republic of Nigeria.
Now please, can we keep clapping? Let's keep clapping.